NBC News on Meet the Press would not let a Republican candidate for president explain the difference between boys and girls. They literally wouldn't let him. I've got to show you a video you're not going to believe. There's another guy running for president, and on the Republican side, I don't want to say his name because I can't pronounce it. He's an Indian gentleman.
I think it's Ransway.
Something like that.
Ransway.
Super intelligent guy.
Yes.
I mean, this guy is off the charts genius. He got invited on Meet the Press with Chuck Todd. I'm going to show you the video, and I'd like you to comment on it. Okay. Sure. Here it is.
Confident that you know that gender is as binary as you're describing it? Are you confident that it isn't a spectrum?
I am.
You know this as a scientist?
Well, there's two X chromosomes if you're a woman, an X and a Y. That means you're a man.
There's a lot of scientific research out there.
There's a lot of
scientific research out there that says gender is a spectrum.
Chuck, I respectfully disagree. Gender dysphoria for most of our history, all the way through the DSM-5, has been characterized as a mental health disorder. And I don't think it's compassionate to affirm that. I think that's cruelty. And there's no doubt that the cultural movement in this country, even education, is creating more gender dysphoria. If it's a condition of suffering, let's not create more of it. That's what we're doing.
Let me ask you about the Disney dust-up with Ron DeSantis on one hand.
Steps. So part of what I think is, listen, gender dysphoria for the rare few people who have suffered it is a condition of suffering. My question is, why on earth are we going out of our way to create even more of it? And there's no doubt that the cultural movement in this country, even education, is creating more gender dysphoria. If it's a condition of suffering, let's not create more of it. That's what we're doing.
Yes.
Okay, so this is Meet the Press. This used to be the #1 news show in the country. You heard the host invite on a presidential candidate and talk over him that boys and girls, boys have the part, girls have a different part, XX and XY chromosomes, is a spectrum, meaning there's degrees of boyness, degrees of girlness, and somewhere in the middle you meet and cross, right? That's what a spectrum means. And this guy says, no, if you have 2 of these chromosomes, you're one sex. And if you have 1 of each chromosome, you're the other sex. And if you think you're the opposite, it's not a spectrum, it's mental illness.
Yeah.
And it's wrong for us to affirm that. We're like saying, okay, Will, I understand now your name is Goofy the Unicorn. And from now on, my guest on Thursday is Goofy the Unicorn. And in 2 weeks, you could be Shlomo the Bullfrog. Okay, here comes the bullfrog.
Or
right?
Pepe the frog.
Whatever. I'm not going to help you be mentally ill. You're my friend. I want to help you. I'm not going to say whatever you say is fine. You can do it at home. I'm not going to put you on the air.
Right. Well, let me say this, Barry. There's a movement, and I've been saying this quite often too, and I'm trying to be careful about how you say this, because there's a lot of people at these tech companies that believe and live this particular lifestyle, but there's a movement to get the rest of us that don't want to play this game to play along. That's what I call it. It's a game. It's a pretend thing that they're doing, but they've taken it a step further. Well, I don't want to just pretend. I want this to be my reality. And because now it's my reality, it needs to be yours. And the reason why they want it to be our reality, Barry, is to confirm. They want to confirm their insanity. So if everyone could go along with it and says, yes, you're not insane. No, this is completely normal. This is completely natural. That's what they're looking for. They need someone to affirm what they're doing. That's all that they're doing. That's what this is all about.
So let me ask you a more pointed question. Chuck Todd's not an idiot. He may say idiotic things, but he hosts the #1 news show on the weekend on a major network. Why is he talking over a brilliant guy running for president, telling him that XX and XY, which determines sex at birth, I don't care what you call yourself, is a spectrum, and he wouldn't let the guy finish.
Well, it's mainly because you know what it comes down to, Barry? Just what it comes down to is that God made a mistake. That's what they're saying. God made a mistake. And then if someone wants to, believe that there's something else, they're in the wrong body, they should be able to do that because God made a mistake. I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. And I've constantly said this before, that it's an antichrist spirit that is pushing all of this. And a lot of people don't know that because they can't make that connection. There's only one explanation for so many people, Barry, to go along with this, that mental illness. They've taken them out the insane asylum. They're no longer wearing in the pads, in a padded room.
No, now they're running the place.
They're running the country.
And they're on Meet the Press.
Yes, they're running the country. They're on the news anchors. They're no longer in there. They used to take people like that and like, I'm something else. I'm a tree trunk. Okay. I'm a dog. I'm a cat. Woof, woof, woof. Okay. Now, if you're just like 7-year-old, maybe even 9, 10, even, you're pretending. But once you become a young adult, 18, 25, 35, 56, and you're doing this, something is not right.
Well, let me give you one example before I go to some happy news. I've got a family member who told me a story that he has in one of his classes. This is not a joke. A person who barks when she gets called on her answers because she identifies as a non-human animal, and the teacher allows that because the children should be able to self-identify and self-express. That, to me, on the part of the teacher, ought to cause her to be removed.
Yes.
After being given a chance to correct her. She's not teaching, she's enabling insanity. What if that same kid is back there going, I identify as a heroin addict, and at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, I need to inject. You would think, oh my God, you'd dive across the classroom to take that needle out of the kid's hand, wouldn't you? Well, this is mental illness too.
Yeah.
Right? And letting the kid bark in class instead of giving the example of what's the capital of Alabama, it's not rarf, rarf, rarf. Okay.
Yeah. Ruff, ruff.
Exactly.
Ruff, ruff. Ruff, ruff.
How dare you?
Ruff, ruff. Barry, this is happening in the U.S. military. This crap is happening in the U.S. military. Schools, hospitals, government facilities, military, just okay. So let me start over. Schools, militaries, government facilities, they should never, ever, in hospitals, never deviate from the truth. If you are a man and you go into the hospital and you sitting there telling everyone, and you're on a table and they need to save your life, and he says, no, I want you to operate on me like I'm a woman. Don't you do otherwise, or I will come after you. The doctors, military, schools, government, they should only operate in the truth. All of this other crap is unnecessary, and it's going to cause problems. When the ambulance come pick someone up, they come to pick up Mr. Jones, and they see Mr. Jones in the dress, and they're like, are you Mr. Jones? Don't you call me Mr. Jones. I'm Mrs. Jones. I mean.